Good midnight, fiends. And tonight we've got a 2-for-1. We've got Blitzkid's Terrifying Tales and Death by Jersey. Tonight on the Midnight Chamber. Terrifying Tales. I'm sure most of you who are really into Blitzkid, like a good chunk of us, are more familiar with maybe Five Cellars Below, Anatomy of Reanimation, of course, Apparitional, all the newer stuff. Goolsby a few years ago released digital copies of Revisited and Terrifying Tales on Amazon Music and Spotify and shit like that. But the original first record of Blitzkid, Terrifying Tales, I'm talking first time in the studio type shit, that's what we're talking about tonight. Terrifying Tales. We're giving this sucker a fair shake. I mean, this one is straight from the horror punk legends. So, the album, recorded in 1999 in Bluefield, West Virginia. I believe they recorded it in hometown. This was the band had no money. None. I'm talking they had to scrounge the money up for this one. What can you say? So, the band, this was the band's first time in the studio. For any of us, like myself included, that have ever been in a studio, been in a band, been in multiple bands, that first time you're in a real studio, and I'm not talking like when they recorded Revisited, it was like a trailer. You're using like the closet as the sound booth. No, I'm talking like a studio where it's dedicated sound booth, like, the whole building is dedicated recording. It's less, it's still common these days, but it's not, back then, home studios were fucking expensive. Really fucking expensive. So if this tells you exactly how old school this is, and the album was recorded in 99, but they were still using fucking tape. Digital was a thing, but it was not near as common as it is today. The first digital recordings go back clear to like 80, 81. Which, trivia here, Hawkwind actually recorded the first digital album ever. But that's neither here nor there. 99, it still was not as common, so they cooked this sucker on tape. And the recording engineer actually used old tape that he had recorded stuff on and just recycled it to record Terrifying Tales on. So, they recorded the album. It was super exciting. First time in a real studio. The band consisted of Goolsby, TB Monstrosity, and of course, Dr. Stu, who wasn't really in the band past the first record because, after this album, Billy Bones joined and he was on board for the next two records. So, okay, we're going to get into the artwork now. And with the artwork, let's stop, take a look at it, and then we'll get into the real fucking meat and potatoes of how all this went down. Alright, Monster Kids. Here we go with the version of Terrifying Tales that I have on top of the Death by Jersey. So this is one of the 2004-ish reissues. Not one of the professionally pressed, but one of the home semi-professionally pressed. The sleeve is thick cardstock, you can tell by that. Of course, the iconic Terrifying Tales cover. Count Orlok from Nosferatu. The inner artwork. Needless to say, Goolsby was really, really flexing his silent horror love. It's dedicated to a dearly departed friend. Right there. And here's the back with the track listing. Fantastic artwork. If anyone who's been around the internet any long amounts of time, especially looking for spooky graphics, that one particular bat has graced so much crazy artwork. I mean, it was just standard clip art and has been used all over the place. It's old school as hell. Now, here's the back of the CD case. Just a track listing. A Corpse with No Name Productions. So, or A Corpse with No Name Music. The back is just standard white. All printed out from the home printer. And the CD, nicely printed. I don't know if that was a stick-on, but you can see the lines from the laser printer that did it. Blitzkid.net. This is before the .com. And if you flip it over and you look at it, you can tell that it is a CDR. Now, we've got the reissue in the Death by Jersey DVD. Of course, a lot of people know that cover. And I've got the poster in the other room framed that corresponds with this. Includes bonus audio CD. Here's the spine. Yet again, A Corpse with No Name Music, and here's the back. Terrifying Tales. And there's a track list of the first show on the DVD. There are 2 shows. There's a bonus show. Here's the inner artwork for the DVD. For any of you who have just never seen this before. So this came out in 2006. Show was filmed in probably 2005. And obviously Terrifying Tales recorded in 99. And then, of course, there's the first DVD. There's the DVD itself. And then there's the Terrifying Tales reissued, mastered, unlike the other one. God, love that brain. So there you go, Terrifying Tales in a nutshell. Enjoy. Now, I'm sure I probably mentioned it within the video, within my little cut of the artwork, that my Terrifying Tales is one of the home CD burnt editions. Probably, well, I'll get ahead of myself. Terrifying Tales was actually pressed. Like, actually pressed. The original artwork, so Photoshop was barely a thing back in the day. I mean, Photoshop was there, it was not common, and it was damned expensive. I remember the first time I got Photoshop in maybe 2003, 2004, and the damn thing was like $400 or $500 just for the program. So thankfully I was in college at the time, and I got a student edition for like $90. Unfortunately, I don't have that anymore, to my shame. But, you know, Photoshop's a lot cheaper these days. Back then, it was expensive. So what the boys did was they, these graphic design companies existed, and So they sent their mock-up, and it was probably a 12 by 12 mock-up of what they wanted kind of the artwork to be, and this graphic design company would tweak it, send it back. They would circle what they want to change. They would send it back to the design company. They would tweak it and send it back. They did this like incessantly, and Goolsby told me that they probably drove this fucking company batshit nuts. But eventually they just finally cut it off, said that's enough, and they got the thing pressed. So if you think there was never actually pressed copies of Terrifying Tales, you are horribly fucking mistaken. In Discogs, you don't have it because there were only 100 copies actually professionally pressed of this record. And I believe Goolsby has a few of them. Obviously, back then, they were mostly playing Bluefield and just slightly surrounding areas. People randomly sold them back to the record store, like the local Bluefield record store, and Goolsby picked them up. So he's got a few of those stashed away. After that, it was just random CDR, home-pressed stuff, and getting into the Terrifying Tales Death by Jersey era, somewhere right in between like 2004 and 2006, like right in that pocket, they bought a. So stick with me. I'm about to show my age. I'm just about to put my age right out on the table. So like 15 something years ago, and these probably, I don't know how long the heck you might still be able to get these, but these CD pressing units that would hook into a computer, they looked like an actual printer, except they printed the artwork on the CD, and they burned the CD at the same time, so it was like CD creation. And suckers were like $2,000. I don't know if they did the artwork. That could be Kinko's, but the artwork on this version of Terrifying Tales right here is like heavier cardstock. So I don't know if the thing did that, but it did press CDs. And you just put in your blank CDRs with printable labels on top, and it spat those out. Well, Goolsby got his hands on one of those and just started pressing all kinds of shit. That's where the original pressed versions of Hollow Bodies and I can't remember. There are two other live recordings other than Hollow Bodies, the original Hollow Bodies, that he pressed and released, and he also did. He pressed Revisited and Terrifying Tales and just any of that real obscure shit. He pressed the shit out of that and sold that straight out of the Blitzkid web store. This was the original Blitzkid.com web store way back when. So 100 officially pressed copies, and then everything else, especially these home pressed copies, go for astronomical prices on fucking eBay. It's not even listed on Discogs, so if you couldn't buy it on there. So if you happen to see one of these CDR copies on eBay, be prepared to pull that wallet out and drain it. For real. So getting into the Death by Jersey. The reason we're covering Death by Jersey is because there's a second disc on it that is also Terrifying Tales. So 05-ish, the guys had been they had cut 2 really low budget music videos, and they knew they wanted to do a live show. And outside of the Ohio Valley, they had the most frequent place at that time they had played was Jersey. So Jersey and the Ohio Valley were like the main stomping grounds for the band for eons. Well, they decided they had friends up in New Jersey that had the equipment, they had the experience, and they had the want to record live shows. So that's what they did. And at this time, in the band, Jason Trioxin was on rhythm guitar, TB Ghouls, and I believe Ray M. I think Troy was playing drums. Ray M his name's Troy, whatever. So they cut that. I mean, they could have done a music video, but they opted to do that. Well, the guy putting the whole package together, the DVD package, he gave them the option. We could do some audio with this and whatever. And really, that particular, like, Terrifying Tales had never had a real fair shake. I mean, Let Flowers Die and Trace of a Stranger had been released on Antidote Records and then Horror High Records, so it got its fair release. But like both of those, and of course in 0506, Five Sellers Below was the record at the time, so all those were out. Well, Terrifying Tales was just kind of up to bat. You know, it was the time for that record to shine a little bit. So that was what they did. They put that record out as a secondary disc with Death by Jersey, which is awesome. Now, let's play, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon here, because what does Blitzkid and Kevin Smith have to do with each other? Yeah, I'm sure you're scratching your fucking head right now going, what? Stick with me. So, Terrifying Tales had never ever been mastered. Not once. It was old school raw recordings. You recorded it, they didn't really have the money to master it, so they had the recordings and they fucking put them out. A lot of first albums were like that. Hell, a lot of first albums are still like that. And in this case, they befriended another New Jerseyite, and if you remember, Kevin Smith is from New Jersey, and that's exactly where he filmed Clerks. And Scott Schiaffo, the Chuli's gum guy from Clerks, mastered the fucking record. Like, so apparently he's friends with Ghouls and TV, and he handled the mastering business on that record. So the world is very small. As many people as we have around on it, it's fucking small. It's a pretty good mastering. Like, it's a good sounding record. I mean, the original's not bad. It's definitely, it needed mastered, and that's what I got on this particular release. And man, that's it. Death by Jersey. It was a combination of wanting to put some live stuff out and at the same time giving Terrifying Tales a fair shake. It's both, I'm pretty sure that Death by Jersey is way more common than the original Terrifying Tales. And honestly, fuck eBay and fuck those prices. I know a lot of us have seen some crazy outlandish prices on some Blitzkid stuff on eBay. No one needs to be paying like $300 for a fucking CD. No one needs to be paying $300 for a record, period. I mean, unless you have that kind of deep pockets, which none of us do. I mean, I can record collect, but I'm not insane. No one needs to be paying $300 fucking dollars for a CD. I mean, I'm not telling you how to fucking live. I'm really not. If that record is worth $300 to you, then you fucking, I will support whatever you fiends want to do. It's just like, to me, it's like Junior League Misfits collecting. I'm not saying that, you know what I'm fucking saying. I mean, Misfits collecting is just the same fucking boat. Like, you want a cough pool, you're forking up $5,000. So, yeah, Terrifying Tales. And the series, like, I don't even need to fucking review this. Like, 90% of the songs on this are damn classics. The Howling, My Bloody Valentine, Pretty in a Casket. Pretty in a Casket, oddly, is still one of my vocal warm-ups, and it was one of the first 2 songs I ever heard from Blitzkid, back in the mp3.com days. And of course, Teenage Necrophilian Love, which I don't know how many shows that particular song has ended. Particular song has ended shows. Like, they've played it at the end of so many shows, it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, TB, Why did we never get to hear Slayer alive? And yes, I'm gonna bug your ass about that every fucking time. I love that song. Slayer. Slayer. However you want to fucking pronounce it. It's a great tune. I love it. That's one of those songs I never got to hear live. And for people who think that Nosferatu is one of the hardest fucking punk songs they have, listen to Diabolus Rising. It's right in the pocket of Nosferatu. So good. This whole album's really fucking good. You can. I mean, it's tuned in standard, but for being a standard tuning, it's super fucking heavy. It's such a good record. It's just visceral fucking horror punk. Before there was really even remotely a scene, they look super fucking good. So there we go. Terrifying Tales and Death by Jersey. Live shows are pretty good. I mean, what's not to say about that? It's Blitzkid live. They fucking rip it. And Terrifying Tales is so worth it. It's such a good fucking record. So, Fiends, that is your fucking history lesson tonight, on Terrifying Tales and Death by Jersey. Like, subscribe, fucking leave comments. Tell me, what do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to know about? I've got a list of shit that I want to do. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And when I do, we'll talk about it. I will see you next time on the Midnight Chamber.